Welcome to Life Recovery Today with Stephen Arterburn. In the next half hour, you'll obtain insights and tools to transform your life using the biblical principles found in the 12-step program. We believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience because we all have struggles in life. Struggles with addictions, food, depression, anxiety, and relationships, to name a few. You'll be encouraged to see how others have found a new way of life with hope for the future through life recovery. Your host is Steve Arterburn, founder of New Life Ministries and Women of Faith, author of over 100 books, and teaching pastor at Northview Church in Carmel, Indiana, one of the 20 largest churches in America. Steve is the co-editor of the Life Recovery Bible, the #1 selling recovery Bible. With over 3 million copies sold, this is the Bible given to inmates by Prison Fellowship and the Pew Bible for the Salvation Army. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, welcome to Life Recovery Today. Steve Arterburn here. I've got a special guest who has been in recovery after falling to his knees and asking Jesus, come back into my life. That might be something that before this day is out, you might need to do or want to do. Recently, I was back in California where I lived for 30 years. Went back over some things that I had done and places that I had lost, and I just had a horrible attitude. Then I got to marry my daughter Madeline off to her wonderful husband Tim, and I had all the kids. We have 5 kids. I had the 5 kids there, and I went from being a little bit sad about what I used to have to being so grateful for what I have. Here's what Dietrich Bonhoeffer said about gratitude. He says, gratitude changes the pangs of memory into a tranquil joy. You know, when we are grateful, when we're looking at all the blessings that we have, the opportunities that we still have, and what we need to do to make sure all those opportunities come true, we just really don't have time for the pity parties that can totally throw us off track. You know, that quote by Bonhoeffer is just one in the little Life Recovery prayer devotional that's just out. Very short, but very powerful little devotionals. And I'm grateful for this. And I'm really grateful that I get to talk about recovery, because a lot of people don't understand that recovery isn't about some weird or strange bunch of meetings. It's about discipleship. It's about growth. And you know, you could be delivered from something, but you still need a growth program. Nobody gets delivered into Christian maturity. You could turn your life around, I mean, in an instant, but you're still going to need a growth program. And you could have been in a turned around life for 20 years, and you're still going to need a growth program. I like the 12 steps as a means by which I can follow a path to growth. Now, for you, it might be 7 keys or 5 stones or 6 puddle jumping rocks. I don't know what it is, but you need to have a plan. Life Recovery is all based on 12 steps that came right out of the good book, as Dr. Bob said. We're going to talk about that and some other things and how that has impacted the life of our guest, Darren Newton. We'll do that right after this. Stay tuned.
Are you going through your struggles alone? Do you want someone to talk to help you through your pain? Do you feel like a failure when you relapse again, telling yourself, next time will be different? Don't walk this path alone anymore. Join a life recovery group today and be a person that your friends and family can be proud of. God created us to be in community, and we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country, and if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. Life Recovery brings recovery to you, right where you are. You'll take a journey with others to find healing and freedom. Whether you're looking to join a group or start one, New Life Ministries is here for you. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or visit liferecoverytoday.net.
Welcome back to Life Recovery Today. I love talking to people about their particular way of finding recovery, transforming their lives. Today, it's one of the best. It's Darren Newton. And Darren, welcome to Life Recovery Today.
Oh, thank
Glad
you.
you're here. What I love about you is that you're a working man. You sell semi-trucks?
That's correct, yeah.
How do you do that? Does a guy just walk in and say, hey, I'd like to drive this around?
Well, I wish it was that easy, but
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of prospecting and that type of thing. Going out and find the companies that need them, and
Right.
just a lot of footwork that you got to do to get people interested. But it's a different thing because you're selling a product that's $150,000,
Yeah.
on a daily basis. So it's not like selling cars, which I did for 20 years.
Oh, my.
So I got a lot of selling experience that way. But it's I like sales, so
Yeah.
that just happens to be one of those things that just got me all my years.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I heard that one of the best bargains ever is a used semi truck. That sometimes you can just get them so cheap compared to what they originally cost.
Yes, they do.
And we need those truckers. Oh my goodness,
boy,
do
you
we
got that
ever?
right.
But what I love about your story is that here you are, you're a working man, but you want to give back, and that just that trait of wanting to give back, wanting to make a difference, is pretty powerful. And so you actually produce a radio program
Yes.
called New Endings.
New Endings Radio,
Now,
yes, sir.
now tell us about that. Why is it called New Endings?
Well, through my recovery, there was always one phrase that always really stuck with me, and that was that you can't go back and have a new start, but you can start now and have a new end.
Yeah.
So we decided to name it New Endings because you're making a choice to take a different path to whatever your end, however you want your end to be.
Yeah.
You can, whatever position you're in now, you can look down the road and you can kind of see where you're going.
Yeah.
But if you don't want it to end up there, then start now and make a change.
Right.
Most people have a problem making that change. Is
Absolutely.
A problem,
When did your new ending start? How long ago was that?
Well, about 4 years ago,
Okay.
actually. And I dealt with alcohol for 30 years, probably.
How'd you deal with it?
Well, however you can, basically. There's a lot of hiding and lying and trying to figure out. Your whole life revolves around it. If you go into work, you got to find out all the places you're going to stop on the way, all the places you're going to stop on the way home. You have to have stashes that the wife doesn't know about, and it's just an exhausting lifestyle, and
So, on a day like a Saturday when you're home not working, how much were you able to drink in a day?
Well, I was towards the end. I was basically 24 hours a day. So
Yeah.
and my drink of choice was Crown Royal, so I was drinking straight whiskey.
So how much of that could you drink in that 24-hour
Well,
period?
a couple bottles of it for sure every day, but I was drinking 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So I'd have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
sneak out to the garage, and so I could get my blood alcohol level back up to where
Right.
it needs to be, just so I could function again.
Now, it's important for people to know that most folks, if they drank 2 bottles of Royal Crown whiskey,
Right.
they could even be dead,
Absolutely.
most likely asleep, or they'd throw up so much that, and the point is that you are like every other alcoholic I've ever talked to. You have a gift. It's a gift that kills you.
Yeah.
It's a gift called tolerance.
Yeah.
And you can't be an alcoholic. And a lot of people will argue this, but they're talking about something different. You have to be able to drink a lot of alcohol to get addicted to alcohol.
Okay.
And you don't have to take much fentanyl to get addicted to fentanyl.
Exactly.
But alcohol, most people don't drink enough to get addicted to it. Now, you could be a problem drinker, have a glass of wine, you're drunk, and you can go to a therapist and they can help you figure out why you're doing that. Right. But an alcoholic, you never change that body you've got. And that, I love for people to know that. It's a physiological thing, and you're proof of that. So what happened that caused you to give up the Royal Crown?
Well,
Or Crown Royal.
that's right. I just got tired. I just got tired of what I was talking about, the lying, the cheating, the hiding all the time, the need for it, just to stay normal. Trying to avoid people because I didn't want people to know. Of course, everybody knows. You think
right.
nobody knows, but everybody knows.
Sure.
And it just got to the point where I just couldn't handle it anymore. I mean, I could handle it, but I just didn't want to
Yeah.
anymore. You know, it was just, like I said, exhausting. And one night I said, I just can't do this anymore. I mean, I just got to the breaking point. Now I've stopped hundreds of times,
Sure.
probably. I call myself a professional detoxer, you know, because I know how to do it,
Yeah.
and I've done it so many times that it's just one of those things that it's just impossible for me to quit and just stay quit. So starting and stopping all the time, you know, just wears you out after a while. And I just got to the point where I just couldn't do it anymore. And one night I just said, God, I just can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I just got on my knees, and I prayed a prayer that was real. I've prayed the same prayer that a lot of people have prayed, where just get me out of this, God, and I swear I'll never drink again.
Right. What was your prayer?
Well, my prayer was just that, of just complete surrender. And just say, God, I've tried it. I can't do it on my own. There's no other hope, and I know you're there, and I need you. And you know, in my case, it was a small miracle, I would say, that I didn't have any more cravings. I had no problems quitting alcohol the next morning. It was just no withdrawals, no anything, which is very unusual.
I have heard stories like this,
happens.
and I believe that is a supernatural deliverance from addiction.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people have had that experience, and that's all they do.
Okay.
And it doesn't make life that much better. It just doesn't have the alcohol. Yeah. But here God gives you this gift of, you can start recovering, get your life back, and not have that horrible drag of withdrawal or wanting to go back into addiction. It's such a gift, but a lot of people don't use that gift well. What did you do so that was the beginning of the new ending versus, you know, just a temporary setback or a temporary stopping of the drinking?
Well, once I knew I wanted to make a change, then I knew, you know, I had to do something different. You know, obviously you can't just go back and expect everything. You know, you have to do something. So, you know, I had been to probably thousands of AA meetings.
Yeah.
And, you know, AA is a great organization. It does millions of people, wonderful. But for some reason, it just didn't click with me, because there's just this thing with talking about God and Jesus and in that, where they've just kind of got a little bit away from it, and it's kind of uncomfortable to people there.
Yeah.
And I stumbled on Celebrate Recovery.
Okay.
And when I went into my first Celebrate Recovery meeting, it was like, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
You know, because we could talk about Jesus. There's a lot of worship. I grew up in a Christian home. So, you know, I accepted Christ when I was 9 years old.
And you're a musician, right? Or you like music, or
I like music quite a bit. I mean, I grew up. My parents were very musical, and my dad always wanted to put our little family group together and that type of thing. But you know, we just. I guess with Celebrate Recovery, it's just something that became something that I was used to in the past. When I was a child growing up, in high school, I went to mission trips and all that stuff. So all of this is not unfamiliar to me. It's just I lost my way.
Yeah.
You know, and once you go down that path, Satan has a way of just getting you a little at a time. You know, he takes a little bit away and a little bit away and a little bit away until you have nothing left.
Right.
And pretty soon you're just so dependent on whatever your hurt, habit, or hang-up is. And it doesn't necessarily have to be alcohol and drugs. I mean, it could be, we talk on our radio show a lot to women in abusive situations, and they're stuck in those situations. They can't get out. They accept the lie that they're worthless and they're ugly and they can't, you know, nobody wants them and that type of thing. So it's a way that Satan works on you and tells you those lies. It convinces you that you have to be this way.
Oh, absolutely.
And Celebrate Recovery was just my way out to where I just said, you know, this is God again. God's in my life. God's part of my recovery.
By the way, I knew John Baker, who started Celebrate Recovery long before there was Celebrate Recovery.
Really?
And I have a little notepad where we made some notes of what to talk about in Celebrate Recovery. Hurts, habits, hang-ups, right there. So it's kind of one of my prized possessions.
Oh, nice.
But here's the thing. You were delivered, and you delivered yourself to recovery.
Right.
And that's what people need to hear. I want to finish up on your story, but I got to take a break here. You are watching or listening to Life Recovery Today. And maybe something happened to you, kind of a supernatural thing, the craving went away, but you didn't get into a program, some kind of program to help you. Well, let's get back in there. You don't need that deliverance. to just get into that program and get to work. We'll be back after this.
It's hard to find a trusted friend when you're in crisis. Someone who's been there and understands, but who also has the training and skill to give you practical help. Family, friends, and churches want to help, but often they're not equipped to care for those dealing with problems like addiction and pornography, infidelity, anger, depression. New Life Ministries is here to provide help and hope in life's hardest places. We're not focused on making people feel better. We're focused on helping people do the work that will help them be better. At New Life, we have resources available to help you, like books, DVDs, CDs, workshops, and our network of licensed counselors. If you need help, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and begin your new life today.
Welcome back to Life Recovery Today. I am talking with Darren Newton, and of course I love his story because Darren, one, delivered and got into recovery, and secondly, now you want to give back, and you have this radio program, New Endings. Before I forget, how does a person find New Endings?
Well, our Facebook page is probably the easiest way. We have about 21,000 followers.
Excellent.
And if you go to New Endings Radio on Facebook, you can find us there. And I post all our radio shows on the show there, so you can find it. We also have our website, newendings.online.
Okay.
So if you go there, we have all our podcasts on there. Plus, we have connections, links to other recovery sites and that type of thing that you can connect to there if you want to look at it. So
okay,
that's the easiest way.
Very good. So let's talk about your wife. How did she handle it when you were drinking, and what was her reaction when you had that on your knees experience that produced this deliverance?
Well, she's a typical codependent. I mean, she had been dealing with it for all these years, covering for it, didn't want people to know about it. Just a typical codependent. And it just kind of more or less ran her life as well as mine. When I actually quit and I told her, okay, this is it, I've told her that this is it 100 times. So,
right.
It takes a lot of time to earn their trust back,
Sure.
And it's not their fault. I mean, it's our own fault.
Right.
Because we put them in that position. And why would they just say, okay, well, then everything's great again when they've seen it 100 times?
Did she tell you when she finally trusted you again, or did it just kind of evolve?
You can kind of feel it.
Yeah.
I mean, it just kind of comes around a little at a time. And, you can, at first you can see how they're looking over your shoulder, and it's just, are you sure this is really going to happen and that type of thing? But as you can just feel the relationship change as she got more comfortable and she trusted me more, then things just came out naturally. I'm more honest with her because I'm not hiding everything all the time. Rather than lying to her all the time. If I'm lying to her about the alcohol all the time and not drinking, when she knows I am, then in her mind, I'm sure she's thinking, well, what else is he lying to me about?
Exactly.
Even if I wasn't lying about anything
right.
else. But I mean, it's just a natural thing to just have that mistrust. So, but and it takes time, but our marriage is never better than right now. So
that's good to hear.
After all these years, been married 34 years, so she hung in there for a long time. So.
Does she go to Al-Anon or any other kind of recovery program, or?
Well, she's part of Celebrate Recovery also.
Right.
I'm the ministry leader for the Valparaiso, Indiana Celebrate Recovery,
awesome.
And she's also there. She runs one of the groups, codependency group.
There you go.
Of course. And she also just got her master's in counseling.
Excellent.
So she's does volunteer work at the church and does some free counseling there. We're kind of combining her counseling abilities with New Endings Radio, so we can provide some counseling about it. Because New Endings Radio is really about convincing people to stop.
Yeah.
And showing them that they need to do something about it. Do something. It doesn't matter what you do,
right.
Just do something. And when you do something, once you make that stop, then you have to have an avenue out to continue on.
You sure do.
So,
now, you and I talked a little bit before the program about denial. That's the big deal. Yeah. Talk about denial a little bit and give it your best shot helping somebody who's in denial.
Well, if you know when you're in denial.
Yeah.
I mean, you're lying to yourself and you're lying to everybody else. When you lie to everybody else, you certainly know when you're lying to yourself. And when you wake up every day and you have a need to do something to try to ease a pain or just kill a hangover even,
Yeah.
I mean, you know you're doing something different than what most people would do. And, you know, your normal is whatever you've made your new normal into
Right.
be. So when you look at yourself in the mirror every day and you realize that, hey, I don't like what I see, and you don't do anything about it, you're in denial. And until you take that step and say, look, I have to do something, and do it, you'll never change. You'll have that same ending that you're on right now, and you can see it.
Yeah.
You can see your ending. You see where it's going.
Well, I think there are different pieces of denial. Some people deny that they have any problem. Some deny that they're the ones that need to do something about it. You know, if everybody else would change, or you know, if God would finally be nice, or something like that. But what is that first step after you get out of denial? What do you think's important after somebody finally wakes up and says, wow?
Yeah. Well, I'd say it's a little different for everybody, you know, depending on your situation. Some people, you know, they have to go in full-on inpatient. Some people can just do some counseling. Some people can go to a Celebrate Recovery or an AA meeting or something like that. You know, it's different for everybody. In my case, you know, we discussed how it was just kind of a miracle thing, and then I stumbled across Celebrate Recovery. It's not that easy all the time. You know, sometimes you decide I'm going to stop, and then you wake up the next morning, all the same problems are there. So now how are you going to deal with those problems now? You dealt with them before by drinking or drugging or whatever you did to kill the pain or not worry about it. So what are you going to do today? So that's the key, is to finding a way to step out. And you just need to find a professional that knows what they're doing, you know, and whether that's just walking into an AA meeting or a Celebrate Recovery meeting and just finding other people that are like you, because that's what Celebrate Recovery meetings and AA meetings are all about. When you get there, you're not the only one. And most people think in their life that they're the worst problem. You know, nobody else's problems are worse than mine, and you know, if they understood me, and it's everybody else's fault. And you know, I mean, I've heard all excuses. I don't drink as much as Joe down the street, so I must not have a problem. You know, I haven't been picked up for a DUI, so I don't have a problem. It's all these ways of justifying it, and you know when you're justifying it because you don't believe it. You know, you don't believe it. So.
Well, I think it's really sad that somebody stays in denial. Then I think it's sad when they come out of denial, but somebody wants to convince them there's some quick fix or instant solution. And it really is all about dredging out the depths of your character. And if a person doesn't think that they need a group, imagine, you know, here was your best friend numbing some pain and to the realities of life. Now all those realities bigger than ever. And you don't have your drink friend. You need the support of other people as well as the supernatural power of God running your life.
Right. Well, a lot of, especially in addictions, people kind of, they're introverts. They don't want to be outgoing because they don't want people to see their problems, see their issues, so they like to hide a lot. So going into a group is very difficult because now they have to go into a group of people and admit they have a problem. And that's not, you know, what they're used to. So it can seem difficult, but once you get in and you find out all these people that are, your problem's not the worst. You know, I listen to stories all the time because that's what we do on the radio show. I've probably never heard the worst situation before. I mean, you know, there just isn't one. You know, it's everybody's situation is worse for their situation.
Well, I'm fortunate. You have a wife who's in recovery. My wife's been in recovery 20 years, and she probably understands recovery better than I do. And I would just encourage any spouse of an alcoholic to get into your own recovery somehow. A codependency group through Celebrate Recovery, Al-Anon. Don't just wait for this person to get better. So before we close out, I've just got a few seconds here. How does a person find out about New Endings Radio?
Well, we're on 40 stations nationwide,
That's
and so
awesome.
they're on in several
And
different
you pay for that yourself, right?
yeah, I sure do.
Good for you.
That's wonderful. It's been a labor of love, let's say, you know, and it was just one of those things that we thought we needed to do something, and you know, it's just one of those things that I know people need because I talk to so many people in Celebrate Recovery that I understand that there's just that one moment in their life
Yeah.
they just need to make that change.
And so, what do they do to get in touch with or hear it, or what's
Well,
the process?
again, the easiest way is to go to Facebook and
Okay.
New Endings Radio.
Okay.
And all our connections are there, or our website, newendings.online.
Okay.
And you can get there and hear all the podcasts. And then we're on every podcast site. So if you go
Awesome.
to YouTube or Pandora or Spotify, any of those, look up New Endings Radio, you're going to find it.
Okay. Darren, thanks for sharing.
Sure.
Thanks for what you do with your life. Darren, he motivates me. He inspires me to do the best I can with what I've got, to try to impact as many people as possible. And he's doing that, and really fascinating to hear him talk about his story. It's one of the healthiest stories that I've heard. No wonder that marriage is still ticking after 37 years, and I hope you'll tune into his program. He sells Mack trucks, and we on New Life Live, we love our trucking audience. In fact, we've done radio programs from truck stops just to let them know how much we love them. Well, I'll be back for a couple of final comments right after this.
Life recovery isn't just about making the courageous choice to give up an addiction or dependency. It's a journey towards health, wholeness, and becoming your very best you. If you need resources to help you in your journey, we can help. There are many life recovery resources that you can do on your own, with a group, or with your church. We have Bibles, workbooks, and devotionals that you can use to work your recovery right where you are. That's the beauty of life recovery. To learn more or to get the Life Recovery Bible or any other life recovery resource, visit LifeRecoveryToday.net or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Thank you for joining me today on Life Recovery Today. And I just love stories where people are in really bad shape. 2 years, 4 years later, they're not. They're in really good shape. I'll tell you something that can really get you in bad shape. Spend your life regretting so many things that you've done. Or spend your life resenting so many people and what they've done. Because both of those are stepping stones to another word that starts with R-E, relapse. You can prevent that relapse with an attitude, as I mentioned in the beginning, of gratitude. It'll change everything. Hey, if you need some help, you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'll see you right here next week on Life Recovery Today.
Thanks for joining us for Life Recovery Today with Stephen Arterburn. We hope this program has helped you integrate God's truth and wisdom into your recovery journey. This program is brought to you by New Life Ministries, and it's your support that keeps this program on the air. When you contact us for any reason, be sure to let us know that you watch on NRB. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to LifeRecoveryToday.net. Please join us again next week for more Life Recovery Today.